If you're looking for a way to keep your parents or in-laws off your back, marry someone from a different country. Every time they try to offer you advice, you say, that's what they do in their country. It's the ultimate deflector. This is something that future marketers should be thinking about. Not trying to dodge your parents, but what's happening to the typical American household. What's a typical American household? It's an interesting thing to think about. 20 or 30 years ago, it was an easy question to answer, but is it anymore? Take my family, for example. My wife is from South Korea, I'm from the US, and our daughter has 2 passports. When I was a kid, we might have been something people stared at, but not anymore. It is becoming less peculiar and more ordinary. We're in the 2020s, and things are changing, and as future marketers, it is important to start taking notice. The objective for this lesson is to recognize the different stages family households will pass through as they grow. What is considered a family household? One having at least 2 members related by birth, marriage, or adoption, one of whom is the householder. We're going to cruise through the different stages of a family household, but first I want to touch on the changes that are taking place in American society. In 2021, the New York Times posted an article that said the number of Americans who identified as non-Hispanic and more than one race jumped to 13.5 million from 6 million. The number of Hispanic Americans who identify as multiracial grew to 20.3 million from 3 million. In all, the 2 groups now represent about 10% of the population. American households are evolving in many ways. In 2019, there were about 1.1 million same-sex couples in the United States, and almost 15% of them had at least 1 child, according to the U.S. Bureau. The list continues, with more blended families, more single-parent families, more moms as the breadwinner, more cohabitation with kids, and more couples married that choose not to have kids. As of 2017, the biggest change in the last 5 decades comes from the decline in married households, down to 44%, and the rise in households living alone, 20%, or with a partner, 8%, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Have you ever heard of the family life cycle? The family life cycle is the developmental stages that a family passes through over time. Before we start, it's important to remember each family is different, and there is no one-size-fits-all. Knowing your customers is so important. Doing the proper research to learn about them is the key to success. Why does it matter? The U.S. Department of Agriculture estimates that for kids born in 2015, the typical middle-class family spends $233,000 on that kid over the course of their childhood. That doesn't include college. The purpose of breaking this down isn't to talk about what is happening or isn't happening in the American household life cycle. It's about pointing out a few things at each step to show you how important the life cycle can be to a marketer. It's also important to remember this is only the tip of the iceberg. It goes so much deeper. For purposes of simplicity, let's assume these are middle-class people who have already started on their career. The first step is pretty simple, which is dating. But a big winner is coming down the pike: the engagement and the wedding. Everyone knows how big weddings are and how much of an event it is. But shortly after, some big things happen. The couple purchases a house, they furnish it, buy tools for yard work, but it's all okay because the bills are small and both are working, money is good. Guess what happens next? Kids. The moment kids come, new needs appear that need to be met, and we're ready to help them. Parents need things like cribs, car seats, strollers, clothes, and diapers. The list is long. Another big thing happens. Either one of the parents quit their job or they send their kid to daycare. Both huge financial burdens. After a kid or two, maybe an upgrade to a larger vehicle and new responsibilities causing you to get life insurance. It's real now. Speed forward to preschool and elementary school. The kids are slowly growing up and filled with energy, so the last thing we want to do is give them more. So we control their food and focus on healthy organic groceries. Costco and Trader Joe's, here we come. Zoom all the way to middle school. This is a fun time because the kids are starting to take care of themselves and are showing promise in different activities. So as parents, we want to do everything in our power to support them, spending on camps and clubs without batting an eye. And of course, we can't forget smartphones. High school. Food. So much food. And what seems like so much junk food. Do they ever get full? Do they do anything? They sort of have a job, but I had to buy them a car. I pay for their insurance. I pay for their phone. I keep them clothed. My bills. The good thing is by now we're both back at work, and the promotions at work have allowed me to take home a larger salary so I can finally start to treat myself again. It's been a long time. They're off to college and we're empty nesters. What a time. Large salaries and very few bills. Vacations, new cars, exercise, going out with friends. Am I in my 20s again? Every family isn't the same. I wouldn't be foolish to think that. But a lot of families go down a somewhat similar path that allows marketers to be ready to help them get through it. This isn't the end all, but it is a good place to start. Circling back to the beginning of this video, I love that families are changing. There is no longer a typical family. The future is going to be amazing, and if you're a marketer, you should be excited for what's next. As people go in new directions, they will have new problems, and it's our responsibility to be there to support them.